All right, sixth grade, we're going to move into surface area and volume now. So in the last chapter, we did area, and we were talking about two-dimensional shapes. Now we're going to be talking about surface area, which is kind of sort of like perimeter for three-dimensional shapes, and volume, which is kind of sort of like area for three-dimensional shapes. Surface area is the amount of area that covers the surface of a shape. I know that's not a very helpful definition when the word itself is surface area. The idea here is that every shape is made up of every three-dimensional shape, I should say, is going to be made up of a bunch of two-dimensional shapes. Rectangles, triangles, squares. And we can find the surface area, the total area on the outside, by finding the area of each face individually and then adding it all up. We're going to try to give ourselves some hints, tricks, and shortcuts here, because if we don't, a single problem is going to take us 5 to 10 minutes. And I really don't want you taking that long to do surface area. So, in addition to this note packet, I have uploaded in the materials the file called Cheat Sheet. And Cheat Sheet literally has our shapes, rectangular prisms, which would include cubes, triangular prisms, and cylinders. There are obviously more shapes. We're not talking about pyramids this year. We're not talking about spheres this year. We're not talking about cones this year. We will do all of those next year. Chapter 6 of the 7th grade book is all about perimeter, area, surface area, and volume. This year, we're just focusing on these particular shapes. This year, due to the rather unique nature of how we're doing things right now, I have made for you this cheat sheet that quite literally spells out step by step exactly how to find the surface area for this lesson or volume for future lessons. So, what I would like to do is I'm going to pull this cheat sheet up on my laptop, which is sitting beside me, so that I can look at it. And I'm going to use it, and I'm going to try to use the formulas as well. So the cheat sheet is basically going to walk us through these formulas. So let's look at the formulas, and I'm going to try to explain how the cheat sheet is working these things out. So the first formula I give you is the surface area, and this is for a rectangular prism or a cube, is 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. And those are L's, not 1's in the formula. L standing for length, W for width, and H for height. So, on a rectangular prism, generally the length is the distance across the front, the width is the distance from front to back, and the height is the distance from top to bottom. We get the surface area, okay, so length times width would be the length across the front and length from front to back. That would be the bottom. The top rectangle is the same as the bottom. That's why we have 2LW, okay? 2LH, length, which is across the front, and height. This is the front rectangle. The back rectangle is identical to the front rectangle, so we have to have two of them, hence the 2LH. And WH, for width and height, those are the numbers that define the sides. There are two sides that are the same, left and right side, so hence the 2 there. On the cheat sheet, it says find the area of the front rectangle, find the area of the side rectangle, find the area of the bottom rectangle. Then double all of them and add. So, I'm going to use the formula for the first problem here, and I will use the cheat sheet for the second with the diagram. So in case you couldn't see it, there are two problems here. The first says a cube with edge of 22 inches. So on a cube, all of your dimensions are the same. That's what's special about a cube. It's the three-dimensional equivalent of a square in that way. All of its sides are the same length. So that means that its length is 22, its width is 22, and its height is 22. So according to our formula, and I am totally going to need to get rid of that line so I have space here. The first part of the formula says 2 times length times width. Well, length and width are both 22. Plus 2 times length times height. Well, length is 22, height is 22. Plus 2 times width times height. Well, width and height are both 22. Once everything's plugged in, we can work this all out. And you want to use a calculator for this. I encourage you to use a calculator for this. I don't want you working this out by hand. It'll take you a lot longer than I want you spending on this stuff. So 2 times 22 times 22 is 968. Conveniently, all three parts of this equation are identical. They're all 2 times 22 times 22. So that gets me 3 968s that I've got to add together. When I do that, I get 2,904. Unit of measurement was inches, and this is a kind of area, so it's inches squared. A lot of you, I'm recording this, I should say, on the, what is today, the 27th of April. So I have just checked most of your Chapter 19 tests. The one thing that jumped out at me a lot was you're not very good about including your units of measurement on answers. And I'm not taking points off for it right now because we're not face-to-face. I can't be constantly reminding you of this. But it's a habit you need to get into because next year when we do this stuff, if you were to give me just the number 2,904 without the unit of measurement, you would lose some credit. Now, one thing I want to point out here, this fact that we got 2 times 22 times 22 every single time only was true because this is a cube. Okay, cubes are special. Please keep that in mind. Cubes are special. So give me a moment so I can get rid of all of that so I can actually do the other example that's on the screen right now. So up next, we've got a rectangular prism. And this time I'm going to use my cheat sheet. So the cheat sheet says, find the area of the front rectangle. Okay, well, the front rectangle is this right here, the one that is 7 by 15. So that's 7 by 15, that is 105. Technically, it's 105 square inches. I'm not worried about you putting the units of measure on until the very end. You can do it throughout, but you're just going to be writing down a lot of extra stuff you don't really need. Okay, so that's the front. Step 2, find the area of the side rectangle. This guy over here. He's 2 across the bottom, and the side is 7. Remember, those numbers would move back and forth across the shape. Oops. Don't need the highlighter for that. Need the pen. So he is 7 by 2. That's 14. Step 3 on my cheat sheet says find the area of the bottom rectangle. So that one. That's 15 by 2. So step 1, 2, and 3 are to find the individual rectangles. We did that. Step 4, double all of them. So here's me doing step 4. I am literally going to be doubling everything. 105, let me actually write that so it's a little easier to see, times 2. 105 doubled is 210. 14 doubled is 28. 30 doubled is 60. Step 5 on the cheat sheet says add. So 0, 8, and 0 is 8. 1 and 2 and 6 is 9. 2 and nothing else is 2. And there we go. The answer is 298 inches squared. My recommendation for this year would probably be you want to try to follow the cheat sheet as much as possible. So next up we've got a triangular prism and then a cylinder. So let's pop back up to the formula real fast. Surface area of a triangular prism is 2 times the area of the base, which is always the triangle, plus rectangle 1, plus rectangle 2, plus rectangle 3. There are 3 rectangles that come together to make the 3 sides that connect the triangles. So let me work this out for you by way of my cheat sheet. So cheat sheet says, to begin, find the area of the triangle. Well, here's the triangle. And I'm going to denote that A sub t for triangle. You have to think back now to last chapter for the area formula for a triangle. It's 1/2 base times height. For this particular triangle, its base is 4 and its height is 3. So 1/2 times 4 times 3, and that would be 6. Half times 4 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. Step 2 literally says to double that. And if you're wondering why I would do that, let's remember there is another triangle in the back that is identical to the front. So I've got 2 triangles that have the same area. So I only need to find it once and then I can double it. Okay, step 3. Find the area of each rectangle individually. So I'm going to call these AR1, AR2, and AR3 for area of rectangle 1, area of rectangle 2, and area of rectangle 3. Here, it doesn't matter what order you go about them, just so long as you get all 3. So I will highlight them all in different colors so we can see all 3. So the orange is a rectangle, and we'll go with green for a rectangle, and we'll go with pink. 3 rectangles, an orange rectangle, a green rectangle, and a pink rectangle. Each of those rectangles should have 2 numbers on them. So the orange rectangle, take a look at it. It's 4 by 7. 4 times 7 is 28. The green rectangle is 5 by 7. 5 by 7 is 35. And the pink rectangle is 3 by 7. 3 by 7 is 21. You will notice that the 7, the distance from front to back, the one between the 2 triangles, is a measurement in each of the rectangles. That's not coincidence. Every triangular prism will follow that rule. So we're good there. Step 4 says add the 3 values from step 3. That would be the 28, 35, and 21, with the value from step 2, which is the 12 at the top. So literally here, we just now need to add all that up. 2 and 8 is 10, and 5 is 15, and 1 is 16. Carry ourselves a 1. 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 is 4, and 3 is 7, and 2 is 9. So we are 96. Now we look at our unit of measurement. It was feet, so it's 96 feet squared. Last shape you'll see for surface area is a cylinder. So, according to my cheat sheet, this is a process 6 steps. Step 1, find the radius. Okay, there it is, it's 7. In this particular cylinder, we were given the radius. That won't always be the case. If you get a diameter, you need to divide that by 2. Step 2, square the radius, which means multiply it with itself. Okay, so 7 times 7 is 49. Step 3, multiply that by pi, 3.14, and keep that number. So we're not going to round this, we're going to keep it whatever we get, and we get 153.86. And again, you're using a calculator to do these calculations. I'm perfectly content for you to do that. My question here is, can you follow the directions to wind up with surface area? Okay, so keep that number. So that is going to be a number we need. So I'm going to box it off so I remember I need it later. Step 4. Double the radius and multiply it by pi. So doubling means multiply by 2, so 2 times 7, and multiply that by pi. So 2 times 7 times pi is 43.96. Okay, this is circumference. Step 5, multiply your result from step 4, which is that 43.96, by the height. The height is how tall the cylinder is. Here, it is 16 centimeters. Again, we're not rounding unless we might round our final answers. So that's 703.36. Final step is to add the results from steps 3 and 5. Step 5 got us at 703.36. So we're going to do 703.36 plus 153.86. And that's going to get me a surface area of 857.22. Now we put on our unit of measurement, centimeters squared. I'm not going to guarantee, but it's pretty likely, if I know your book, that it's going to ask you to round your answer to the nearest whole number. So if it were to do that here, because it's 0.2, that's below 5, so I'm going to keep the number before the decimal point. If I were to round this, it would be 857 square centimeters.